This is the CarClinic, a Podaholiks podcast with Glenn Power from Sundance Tyre and Andrew Thomas from DigitalNexa.com. The boys are going to be talking about everything you need to know, but we're afraid to ask about cars and automotive repair. You're going to love it. These guys are hilarious. Let's get to the show. Here it is, the CarClinic.
I'm a hostile takeover this week, Glenn. Yeah. So me, Andrew, and Glenn sitting next to me. We're doing car talk.
James is in South Africa.
James in South Africa.
Drinking a vineyard dry.
That's right, exactly. Drinking a vineyard dry and probably having... Although saying that, we're sitting here, we decided to do this podcast on the porch.
Yeah.
A couple of cold brews in front of us. So I think that's how all podcasting should go on from now on. So perhaps we can do that.
See how the second hour is if we're going to
So we'll try and keep some sort of a sequence. So I guess if we kick off with usual stories, anything fun or interesting happening in the besides the JCB driving past. Oh, hello. Right. Anything fun and interesting in the shop this week?
I've got a really unlucky customer. Basically brought his car in. We talk a lot on the show about people doing like pre-purchase check. So like you're going to go and buy a car. So you say, Glenn, I'm getting rid of the Tahoe. I want to go and buy a car.
Yeah.
I'll say whatever it is, whether it's 1,000 dirhams or 100,000 dirhams, get it checked first.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Probably more so on the cheaper ones because if you only got $5 to spend on a car, you ain't got 10 grand to put on an engine.
Exactly.
So we do the check on it 4 weeks ago. Customer parks the car up, goes away for a month, comes back, turns the key, first drive out, car breaks down, calls me.
Ouch.
It's cool, no problem. He says, look, the car's broken down, I don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
The engine's just chewed itself to pieces.
Really?
And it's like...
What is it? What car is it?
Mini Cooper.
Oh.
So basically, long story short is, it hasn't been maintained properly.
Right, okay.
So he's... I've explained from obviously our point of view, physically, sort of superficially and a visual inspection of the car, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, of course, but you can't actually get in deep and dive.
Certainly there isn't. And one thing we do always put on our inspection reports is service history needs to be checked.
Yes.
So even if they present us with that, we always say to them, look, if you were going to buy that car, wherever that stamp says it's been serviced,
get down there.
Go in there, and even if it's 5 or 6 places, it's worth it. I mean, this guy's...
Yeah,
he's going to be looking at 10-15 grand. And, we're doing what we can. I've told him, look, to help him out, we'll just charge him for the parts. And
what would typically is that like not servicing it? Is that oil?
Yeah,
is that
it's just not servicing it?
Just these terrible people like myself that just leave the service too long.
Yeah, look, it's basically that is the case, but For us as Brits, I know you've been out of the UK for a lot longer than I have, but I remember having mates in the UK when, until I had the facility to service the cars for them, they never serviced them.
Never serviced them,
And I can remember it being a big deal. I can remember once I've been about 18, it was my first, maybe first or second car, and we were around at my mate's house, and everyone's drinking, I wasn't drinking. It's like, why are you not drinking? I was like, I've got to take the car in for a service. My mate's car's going to go in for a service, so I can't remember what it was. And I'm taking it into work, so I didn't want to be going up to work, not being there
couple of sherbets,
mate's car to service and all this. And they all looked at me and like, taking a car for a service? Who does that? You've got money to burn.
Exactly.
And it's like, well,
you baller.
Yeah, basically. So and so that attitude sort of exists still here, but the problem is you're a barbecue man, right? So you know what it's like. You get all that carbon on the grill.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to clean it every time.
And it's one of those where, because it's so hot here, so the air's so much less dense, and there's less oxygen for every sort of handful of air that goes into the engine. There's less oxygen in it, so it doesn't burn as efficiently.
Okay.
So if you want to turn wood into charcoal, you burn it, but you basically smother it as you're burning it to make it do that, and that's basically what you're getting in the engine. And the reason oil has to be changed is because that gets dissolved into the oil. That's why oil goes in looking like this, honey, and then comes out looking black. So because of that, if you don't then service the oil regularly enough, then it builds up, and that's what all these people, you see all the signs at petrol stations saying sludge in the engine is like cholesterol and all that stuff. That's one of the Castrol adverts.
They try and give you them like flush things, don't they, and the oil and all that.
The thing is with that, I mean that wouldn't have helped in this case. It's gone too far. So all that is basically there are other things in it, but basically it's paraffin. Yeah. And kerosene, and it's breaking down this what is just carbon, but it goes like glass. It's like volcanic glass.
Right. Okay.
So when you get the engine open, it goes really hard like glass. But the problem is then if you then put one of these things in, if it can't dissolve it into small enough pieces, they just break off into chunks.
Yeah.
And then they block all the oil galleries up, and then oil starvation takes 30 seconds to do its damage. And that's what's happened here.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first came out, one of the very first things that was said to me is don't buy a manual car, because I was obviously used to driving manual back home and see a few cars for manual, and there was a local guy who said no one knows how to drive manual. So he goes, you basically got someone that's been stirring a pot for the best part of 6 months, ruin a gearbox, and then just decided I've had enough of this and sell it, because there'd be some incredible deals for these manual cars. You think, oh Christ, this will be great, but I think it was pretty much like gravy, where these guys have been chewing around. So
I as purely from a mechanic aspect of it, a manual. Drivability as well, a manual's
better. Oh yeah, hands down.
But from a purely, if someone says to me, right, I've got 2 cars, let's take a Wrangler. Yeah. Good example, because you can get them both quite readily available. Yeah. Manual or auto. If someone says to me, which one do I take? Cost of ownership, I'd tell them take the manual every time.
Right. Okay.
You can use engine braking, so you're not getting through pads and discs all the time. As soon as you let go of the throttle, the transmission coasts on an auto, and you're doing all the stopping with your brakes.
That's right.
A Wrangler's about as aerodynamic as a brick, so it stops pretty quick anyway. But it's one of those where you use a lot more brake effort with an auto than you do a manual. I prefer driving a manual. Manual gear oil, to change manual gear oil, is literally oil out, oil in.
Right.
Automatic, you've got a filter. You've got sometimes more often than not these days basic settings. Okay. Software updates sometimes.
Right.
Yeah. Screwed.
Yeah.
Can't really go wrong with a manual gear.
Yeah. But here you can.
And then the other thing is with an automatic, in a manual gearbox, you've got gears, synchronizer rings, and that's pretty much it.
Right. Okay.
Bearings.
Not a lot to go wrong there.
In an automatic gearbox, you've got like loads of clutch packs. Clutches are made of carbon-based materials,
right? So
they start to burn.
Yep.
Same thing, carbon in the oil.
Yeah.
And then you get the same thing we've been talking about with an engine, pretty much in layman's terms, happening in the transmission and automatic. And then,
how often do you see that in the shop, like gearbox gone and stuff?
Time.
Is it?
Mate, there's a specialist called Dexol. Give them a shout out because they're fantastic at what they do.
Right.
Charge top dollar.
Yeah.
But that's because they're the best.
Right.
But all they do is strip and rebuild automatic
gearbox and transmission.
That is literally all
they
do. Yeah.
Wow.
Because there's that much core.
Is there a particular brand that tends to?
Not really. There's not that many brands of transmissions around. It tends to be application.
Right.
You tend to get a lot of issues on certain cars and not others.
Right.
One thing I would say is BMW sticker their ZF transmission.
Yeah.
And the older Range Rovers had the same because it's basically shared its heritage with BMW because that was the time that it was owned. But they had a sticker that said maintenance-free transmission.
Okay.
And it happened like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Where everyone was like, maintenance-free.
Happy days.
It just doesn't work.
It
doesn't work. And those are the ones where you tend to get. It just doesn't work in this climate. I know in the UK it's probably not as bad. In Europe where it's a decent climate, but here, it just doesn't work. And because of that, even the dealerships until recently were like, it's maintenance free. And it's like, I've been there with Volkswagen. We had a DSG transmission, and on my training course for it, they basically, it's an absolutely unbelievable transmission. It's literally as close as you'll get to a Formula 1 gearbox.
Really?
It's so quick. Flappy paddles work up and down pretty much on demand. It's just so good. Porsche call it the PDK, Audi call it S-Tronic, but it's the same. But when it was obviously new at some point, and when we got it in the Mark 5 GTI was the first time we saw it full en masse. And we did the training, and they gave us one.
Yeah.
We stripped it down, laid it all out, and we took, we took drawings and you know, this is like, again, early 2000s, so it's on the cusp of the smartphone, but not.
Yeah.
We haven't. I didn't have one. In fact, I had that Sony Ericsson.
Oh, Nokia. Sony Ericsson
Sony
T68 or whatever.
I can't remember what it was called, but it was a good phone at the time. But its camera was supposed to be good on it. I think it was like
1.2 meg or something. Yeah, exactly.
Still on VGA or something.
Exactly.
But yeah, we got that, and then we go in there, and I'm in the hotel in Milton Keynes, and then we go in the next day, and there's a box on the floor, oil oozing out everywhere, which is unusual because I mean that place was like just a laboratory, and they're like, "There's your gearbox, lads, put it back together." So we go on ELSA, which is our online technical data basically for the brand. No instruction on it.
Wow, really?
And the reason is, they were still going through the breaking in process on it. They wanted to make sure that people were trained to fix them before they gave the instruction.
Right, okay.
And that happened until recently. So many transmissions out here, because the brands put them in cars as maintenance free. The dealership where you think to go will say, nah.
No, can't touch it.
Put a new one in it.
Right, okay. Never repair it.
So you can go and get what I would class as a great car, which is, say, a Mark 5 Golf GTI. You could probably buy one of those here. With a DSG, you could buy one. You would get changed from 20 grand.
Yeah.
Or a Golf R of the same age, you get changed from 25, 30 grand.
Yeah.
If the gearbox fails on it, because they haven't done the maintenance on the transmission, it's 35, 40 for a gearbox. Oof. You can't drive the car without it, and there's no shortcut.
Yeah.
You can do repairs on them, but you're still 10, 15 grand now. But until recently, those repairs weren't done in the dealership.
Yeah, okay.
So,
more practical.
You see a lot of issues with transmissions. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what then. So I mean, being a salesman at heart, I love being sold to, and when I first came to Dubai, I got the missus a Peugeot 307,
nice,
2-door.
Okay.
You know, treat her. And the main
treat me.
That's exactly happy wife, happy life. The main reason I bought it, and you'll be able to tell me if this is like bollocks or if it was true. They said they had a Porsche Triptronic gearbox, so it was the same gearbox or transmission in there, and it was change, and I bought it because of that.
The guy you bought it off, did he have like a grey sort of sweatback mullet, cheap grey suit, bunting, named Tony? Swiss Tony. I mean, honestly, I'm going to put my hands up here. That could be the case.
Right.
That could be the case, but
you're leaning.
Was that?
Oof, God, what are we talking about? Probably talking about a good 18 years ago.
Wow. I mean, I honestly, it'd be very unlikely.
This is pre-Google, remember, right? So this isn't Andrew being a muppet and just sucking it in. It's not pre-Google. Google's around, but it's not me asking Siri. Hey Siri.
Jeeves had no idea.
Jeeves got no idea. Alta Vista. I was on there. There was
nothing on Encarta.
Nothing.
You load in Encarta.
Exactly.
Windows 95.
Exactly. There was nothing on there. No, it's just interesting, like, because I was thinking of how you make decisions on purchasing new cars and stuff, and that was something at the time. I'll tell you what, and tell me if this is, because I think it's incredibly weird. So we're talking about manual and automatic. And I still prefer manual, but I've got to be honest, I've turned into a bit of a lazy bar steward when I've gone home and hired a car, because I just can't with the traffic. I'm just, day two, my legs aching like a bastard, and my left hand's hurting as well. So anyway, my mum here drives the automatic with 2 feet. So she uses her left foot for braking and her right foot for accelerator. Now, do you know anyone else that does that?
I know one man who did it when he picked his brand new Beetle up out of the showroom and stoved it. Left foot braked at the bottom of the drive and got cleaned up by a car transporter. Wrote his car off within within 30 seconds.
It's a weird one.
Buying it.
Because I've said to my mum that she drives like a jockey, because she's like this the whole time.
She's getting there with spares on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that's a new one on me.
Yeah, it's Colin McRae.
Something in the highway code that says you're not supposed to do that.
Colin McRae stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
heel, brake, heel and toe stuff. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's why I like driving the T5, because I run around in a T5 transporter van, just with work, practical. Do a lot of driving between shops. There's always tyres to go back and forth, or parts, or unruly staff.
Yeah.
Chuck them in the
from the back.
But fake
taxi.
But like it's always it's nice to drive it because it's a manual and it keeps you. It keeps you.
No, I
into
like it. I mean, it's just funny. I just when I've gone back recently, I've definitely.
The thing is, mate, the way things are going now, the only way to get, you see, because everyone's gone mad electric now.
Yeah, it completely kills manual, doesn't it?
Well, it kills just one pedal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kills everything. So.
What do you mean it's one pedal? There's a brake pedal, isn't there?
So you go on the the Nissan Leaf.
Yeah.
It's throttle on.
Right.
And release, and it'll brake. So it's electric. It's motor. It's an electric motor. So the motor will brake it. There are still brakes on the car, but it's off.
Oh, really?
On the position of the pedal. Yeah.
Oh, like a go-kart.
So it's
right. Okay, I didn't know that.
I mean, the thing is, like, the way things were going right up until basically the best thing that ever happened to Tesla.
Yeah.
The best thing that ever happened to them. And there'll be people that disagree with this, but just from someone who works on them, on cars, the best thing that ever happened to them was the Dieselgate thing.
Dieselgate?
Yeah, so when the emissions scandal from Germany back
right,
with the VW car. I mean, they've got the Volkswagen Daimler, which is Mercedes, and BMW. They've got them together now on a charge of collusion, aren't they, saying that they've all fixed it on the diesel stuff. But
yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s, everyone's told in the UK and Europe, get a diesel, they're great.
That's right, yeah.
And, you know, they have certain emissions, but they don't have others, and it's better for the planet, and blah, blah, blah. So
everyone's running around like a minicab back
everyone's
home.
got them, and that's why...
Yeah.
And Volkswagen got ahead of it really quickly, and their diesels were great. You drive a diesel, and they're more powerful than a petrol. They weren't loud anymore. They did a really good job with the sound.
Yeah.
Everything was great, and they put big sporty alloy wheels on the cars, and made them desirable.
Yeah, a lot of mates back home transferred over to a diesel. Yeah.
And what happened was, we used to drive around all the time, and we'd try and see how. I remember driving to Skegness, went on a bit of a cruise, and I had a Mark II Golf, but it had the onboard computer.
Right.
And you could get your miles per gallon. It wasn't the most accurate because I didn't have standard wheels and stuff, and the fuel gauge was all over the place, but you'd get it. And my mate had a Mark IV Golf GT TDI.
Right.
Great car. And
that's turbo diesel one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we drove there and drove to Skegness to a car show.
Yeah.
And he tripped it and then did his. And mate, at some points his car was running at about nearly 200 horsepower.
Right.
A diesel with a phenomenal amount of torque, and I was running nearly 300 in that Golf because I got a TT engine in it.
Right.
Great. And we were going to a car show where we were all going to be dicks and
cool.
thrash the arse off as cars and play music really loud. Mate, there were some parts we were getting overtaken by old people because we were trying to get our MPG as high as we could.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, he gets out his car and he's like 68 at gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, it took us 4 days to get to Skeggy. It's like an hour's drive, Div.
Exactly.
Smashing, like,
yeah.
You know, and then
Austin Allegro's overtaking you.
And honestly, mate, on the way back,
this sounds sunny days. All that
on the way back, he's like, "Oh, we'll just have a thrash across, and then we'll get on the motorway and we'll go back." I think we were coming back on like the Sunday because it was a bank holiday.
Yeah.
And we wanted to go out around the local town on the Sunday night. He's like, "We'll just thrash across." He says, "Don't do that because there'll be loads of traffic, all the caravans and stuff."
Yeah.
We'll go across and we'll get on the motorway and go down. So we thrashed across. He gets on the motorway. I think, is he having a problem here? Something wrong with his car. He sat behind a lorry, and we got the usual, like, you know, max power generation, so we got walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
So you see the 5.0 and all that, and I don't know what good they were. I mean, how long ago was this?
Showing your age, mate. You're showing your age, mate.
So we get
everyone's going, why would you not just call him?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't?
Well, there was no hands-free in the Golf, I'll tell you that. So we get him on the walk. I'm like, mate, what's up? He's like, it's all right. He says, I'm up at 78 now. I'm streamlining this. I'm in the slipstream of the truck.
Doing 55.
Next step, he's got his dad hanging out the window holding onto the bumper of the thing. It's like, what? But no, what my point was, like, we used to like getting to the higher miles per gallon, and the way the companies could control, the way a manufacturer could control driving was through an automatic.
Right.
You can't control a manual driver because I can drive around in second gear.
Yeah, true, exactly.
But with an auto, no matter what you do, unless you put it in the manual shift, but even to the point where once it gets to being a point of damage for the engine or the transmission or the emissions,
it will change up or change down.
Changes the gear. And that's why they figured that they had to work out a good transmission. So the PDK, the SG S-tronic, that comes out, and then if you take a and they call them automatics because there's no clutch pedal, but it's still a manual gearbox. It's just operated by the control unit. But if you take a DSG and a manual, the miles per gallon and the emissions and everything else is way better on the automatic. And that was going that way. You were getting cars, mate. I remember, right, so the XL1, and it's obviously Volkswagen from my background, so that's all I'm talking about, but the XL1...
What's an XL1?
So that's the diesel that they made.
Right.
That will do 330 something miles to a gallon.
Christ, really?
Now they have to run it on their own special diesel. They sold about 6 or 7. Alan Buehler have sold over here.
Right.
They ship their own diesel in.
Yeah.
But I think it was Wheels magazine did 7 Emirates.
Right.
On 7 litres of fuel.
Really?
Yeah.
Christ.
And it's like...
that's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was going that way. Even the Lupo, so you remember the little Lupo? We don't get them here, do they?
I remember them, yeah, nice.
So they
nice
did
car. My cousin had one.
Yeah, so they did a 3L Lupo.
Yeah.
So I forget if it was who it was, the top dog in the Volkswagen group, Ferdinand Piech or someone. He did a couple of projects. One was the Phaeton. He says, I want to travel 200 miles an hour and not notice. That was the Phaeton's reading it, and they did it. And I also want to be able to do, now they called it the 3L. He wanted to do 100 miles to a gallon. Okay. Basically.
Yeah.
And I think the 3L, the reason they called it 3L was because it was 3 litres of fuel you get 100 miles.
100 miles.
Which is brilliant.
Crazy.
It was a little TDI, 1.2 TDI it was.
Yeah.
And for what you need in Europe, park it anywhere.
That's right.
It's got space for 4 people. I mean, me, you, and we're struggling. Yeah. I mean, we can drive it.
Yeah, you're wide.
Seat, but
well, I'm wide. You're tall. Yeah, that's it.
But no one's getting behind us. Do you know what I mean? But normal sort of people would you get 3 in there.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for saying that we're not normal.
We're not normal, mate. I'm a freak. I don't mind it, mate. I'm taller and skinnier than Peter Crouch, right? And I'd been in Old Trafford on the front row of the South Stand, and I was about 17, and I've been this tall since I was about 15. Right. So imagine that was good at school.
That must have been great.
And I was stood in the front row.
Yeah.
Wasted. I mean, I'd been drinking, like thinking it was funny at that age, and I'm stood, and everyone around me. He played for Liverpool at the time, which is why it happened. But everyone around me stands up, starts shouting freak at him. I joined in, mate. If I'd have been Peter Crouch, I'd have turned round and just stood next to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And just been like, I mean, his teeth aren't great and stuff. He's got other things not good, but I mean, he's minted, so
yeah, he's got his wife's alright as well.
So I ain't ashamed. I'm a freak. What can I do? So,
but I tell you what, so from a diesel perspective, why did that wave never hit the Middle East?
They're not
because
the best
I mean, you know, at a time, every single one of my mates, my family members, they all jumped over to diesel.
They never got that. Right? They never got that.
And here, there was nothing. There
propaganda,
was no
though, did they? They never got that. Oh, diesels are great, and there was tax breaks on buying diesels.
Right. So no one really cares here.
And diesels here are agricultural or commercial, aren't they?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And that's the way it is. I mean, we get the odd... I've got a guy with a W12
TDI,
Touareg. V10 TDI Touareg, W12 TDI in the Q7.
Mate's dad had one, and they're nice.
Get a couple of those here and there, but nothing. I've got one guy who brought a Grand Cherokee diesel over from Canada with him, which is great. Yeah. But they just didn't get that over here, and because the petrol was cheap and there's no emissions regulations like there are in Europe, why not have a massive 392 cubic inch V8, you know? Why not? So I get it to a certain extent, but because it was going so well with the diesel stuff, and then all this thing happened where they were fixing the emissions, which, you know, when it all comes out in about 20 years, it's all going to be much of a muchness, really. I mean, it's just, you know.
Well, I mean, I think the electric cars back home now are getting similar brakes, right?
Yeah, and,
I mean,
and because this happened, there's no alternative.
That's right, yeah.
And the other thing is, petrol engines started to get really clean.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you've got...
I think it's just the cost of running one back home, is it? I mean, I've got my nieces and nephews out at the moment, and they're, you know, one's got a Corsa, other one's got a Mini, and its best part is 60, 70 quid to fill up. You know, you're talking staring down the barrel of 300 dirhams. I mean, I have a bit of a moan if... I mean, now the petrol price has gone up by 50 dirhams a tank. So the old Saho out there is taking the best part of 200 dibs again to fill up. Wow. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, 40 quid and back home you've got a Corsa. Well, you know, for that, it's
I tell you what, right, that transporter there, it's a 2 litre petrol.
What is that, a VW, is it?
Yeah. And it's the 100... From the petrol light coming on, so you've probably got about 10 litres at that point. Yeah. To a full tank, it's 170 dirham.
Okay.
And I'll do 950 kilometres.
900.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get 650 out, 680 if I'm being,
it's not
sly
bad. It's not
on
bad.
the old
I mean,
Tahoe.
Prices have gone up, but it's not bad. A lot of my driving, like yours, is highway.
Highway stuff.
You have to do a bit more city than me.
Yeah.
So I get off quite easy on mine. But it's no, but like I say, the thing with the diesel, that sort of dying off.
Yeah.
Just gave Tesla a massive boost, and then everyone else was doing what they've all been caught out doing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So they've all panicked and thought, crap. I mean,
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with a Tesla, and I'd love to drive one, but
Yeah. You've been in one?
I've been in one.
Yeah. I've been in the what do you call it? The SUV. Can't remember the name of that. Is that a T series? T is X? No, X. I've been in the X
with
and
the
the
wings.
S. Yeah. I've been in 2 of them, and it's just bizarre. It's just because it's so quiet. I mean, I saw a beautiful one yesterday. I saw an X which was, brilliant white and blacked out the lot.
Yeah.
So full dark, probably 70% tint, and because obviously the whole roof is glass, it looks pretty
cool.
mean.
Yeah.
Black rims. I think they've done something to the rims as well. They're probably on 20s or something. It looks smart. It's a beast of a car.
Nothing wrong with them at all, and
they're just coin here though. Back home they're not bad, but here they're just it's wedge, isn't it?
Yeah. They're a car equivalent of a smartphone now. That's what worries me.
That's brilliant, actually. I quite like that. Yeah.
I think that's kind of.
No, you're right. It's lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah. And they're going to get to that point, and it's the millennial thing, and because the autopilot stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that therefore means for somebody like you or I who do a lot of travelling for work. One of those with a fully legal functioning autopilot would be life-changing.
Do your emails.
Life-changing.
Have a kip.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
You wouldn't be stressed coming home and having to do an hour's work on the kitchen table.
It was interesting actually, because I listened to, I don't know if you listened to Elon Musk on Joe Rogan's podcast. Yeah. And when he was talking about that whole scandal with the autopilot, he goes, well, he didn't crash.
Yeah.
And I've never actually, as weird as it sounds, I've never thought about that.
Well, they don't present it that way.
Exactly. It's about, the guy fell asleep but he got home safely.
Yeah.
Whereas in any other car, as Elon Musk said, people fall asleep all the time. I still remember to this day, after having a particularly heavy session, let's say one night at uni, I had to work the following morning, I might have not gone to sleep that night. Let's just say that I might not have gone to sleep. And I got in the car in the morning, and I probably shouldn't have been in the car in the morning. And about halfway down, and you're talking early doors, because I was heading down from London down to Kent again. So it's probably like 5:30 on a Sunday morning. There's no bastard on the road, but I got woken up with chevrons, like literally shaken like that with chevrons, and I was like, oh yeah, like that. That could have gone all sorts of horrible ways, Wouldn't
have happened in
Tesla. So the old Tesla, mate, I could have had a cold one in my hand.
And you could have got to work, and the dog that you stole the night before, because you were wasted, you could have left it in the car and it would have been fine because you got a dog mode.
Mate, you can have a beer cooler next to you.
I was telling James the other week, mate, there's a whoopee cushion mode on it as well.
Is there?
So you can set that any time a certain button's pressed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an unlimited of all the buttons, or like say for instance the signal.
Yeah.
And you can set it to each seat, whichever seat you want it to be.
Brilliant.
So if every time you signal left, back right, so signal left, mother-in-law's right.
There's so many Easter eggs, they were saying, and they haven't published them. And I think there's a whole Reddit thread about Easter eggs on Teslas. We'll just see for our other show, 3 dudes in a car. We'll see if we can get hold of a Tesla and kind of have a boot around and see from that side of things. But talking about electronic cars, we were looking at the video before about this new e-tron, this Audi.
Yeah,
that's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah, it's.
For those of the people that haven't seen it out there at the moment, there was the local boys here put it up. There was a video and the e-tron's driving past. You're driving past the vehicle, and there's a camera, isn't there? Almost where your window is.
Where you'd look.
Yeah, where you look for your rear view mirror, and there's just a camera there. And it shows you the entire view, the entire expanse of the road beside you. Fantastic.
Wide angle lens, no blind spot.
Fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. And it's funny because I remember going to a car show, 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
And there was a yellow Peugeot 306 GTI 6. It was. If you look at it now, you'd think that is the most distasteful
Oh, but back then, mate, it was beast mode.
You know, I mean, it was bright yellow, green interior and all this, but he'd got rid of his mirrors and put a screen.
Really?
Yeah. And he had a camera, yeah. I remember that. And the picture was crap. I mean, it was like looking at Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
Poor, but it's always been out there. But like, yeah.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, my brother-in-law's out at the moment, and he's back in the day. Obviously, he had burdens of kids and stuff. He rebuilt an XR2i, and actually you have to have a chat with him. But he had an MG Metro that he properly did up, and it was completely keyless. Yeah. And I mean, there was nothing. He'd polished it all out, and it was keyless. And you walked up to the car, and the car doors open. Yeah. I mean, now that's standard. But back then.
Yeah, but they sell cars on it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, back then, it was actually thinking about it. Christ, I mean, this is so. Yeah, like you say, it's always been available to kind of tweak and have a bit of a play.
It's funny because I remember when for anyone European, the Citroen Saxo.
Yeah.
So boy racer car, especially from my sort of generation, it was like I didn't like them.
I wasn't keen. As a back, I wasn't keen on the back.
I the Golfs and the Peugeots.
Peugeots for me,
the Peugeot and 106 and the Saxo were the same, exactly, just different panels.
Oh really?
But the 106 just.
Mate, what about the old Fiat Cinquecento?
Oh yeah, mate. My mate's missus had one of those, and I just refused to go anywhere. I said, even when like...
I mean, that's like wearing a coat, right? I mean,
the shoe, mate. Yeah, shoe, man.
But I had that Cinquecento Sporting.
Yeah, that's right. That's what she had. It was yellow with the red Sporting decal on the side, single point injection.
Yeah.
Mad. Yeah. No, I can remember like... when the Saxo was out, and everyone just went mental modifying them.
Yeah.
Because they were so cheap to buy, cheap to insure.
Yeah.
They had the immobiliser on them, which made the insurance even better.
Yes, yeah.
Which was quite unique for a budget car.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
And then they brought the C2 out, which was the successor to it. But it had like already modified bits on it. So it already came standard with alloys. It was lowered. It had like colour-coded bumpers. It had like this really weird, I remember it being like a really weird plastic glass kind of moulded gear lever, because you used to screw the gear knob off and put your own on, right?
That's right, yeah.
And they'd basically gone to a car show and said, right, what is it that everybody does straight away to our cars?
Right, okay.
And they've done it, and I feel like that's just never stopped. And now we've got to the point where you've got a Tesla, which effectively, because everything's software on it, it's like it could be a completely different car the next day you go out. I mean, even the glass, it's even got that smart glass on it, hasn't it? That you get like weird colours and patterns in it. And it's like...
Yeah, I remember when they did the software update to ludicrous mode, and they changed it from 3.4 to 3.1 or something, and it feels batshit crazy that there's a guy, an engineer, a software engineer, and mechanical engineer, all these kind of stuff that are working on making a car 0.3 second faster. But it's a software update. It doesn't come into the garage. For
the people that taught me, and I've not seen him for a few years, and I can't wait to go home, and I'm going to make sure I see him. But the guy who taught me, because he's still going, 58 years, and still nobody give him any recognition. No one cares about him. He's that kind of guy. Nobody cares. Screwed by the man. He kept with it to a certain point, but then lost it. It went too electronic. I mean, I was getting cars in after I'd left him, and I was still working on the next ramp to him as sort of supervisor of mine. But I wasn't working with him. And I'd bring a car in, and I wouldn't open the bonnet or lift it up, and I'd fix it.
Really?
And take it out. And he'd be like, you don't even do proper work, you.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't even do proper work. And it's like... So I know he wouldn't understand this, but I'm just on that generation where, like, I've got software and the facility to...
Yeah, I remember you telling me you could boost. What can you get out of the Tahoe?
Probably get another 80 horsepower out of it.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just for the old software.
Just change the injection timing, the ignition timing.
Yeah.
You can't do that on purely mechanical.
Right.
Because it injects and fires spark when it wants because it's mechanically timed. But
sorry, you were saying you're that last generation.
But he's got no idea, and he wouldn't even be interested in this. I'm sure he might be interested, but he would have no appreciation for, like you say, one guy sat there working. His job is just get me more power out of this.
That's right, yeah, exactly.
But he's in a lab coat.
Yes,
He's got a computer in front of him. And I kind of get it from obviously what we do with cars, but it's the next level that.
Yeah.
And then the thing, what's going to be interesting, there was the whole thing. So did you ever read about the hacking group that, as a proof of concept, hacked? They had a Jeep Grand Cherokee and they hacked it. Yeah. Got it to drive itself off the road.
Yeah. They've recently done
it. And the driver was in it and he couldn't do anything. He couldn't. Jeez.
They've recently done that with a. They've recently done that with a Tesla as well. Yeah. 2 dots in a road, and you can. Yeah.
So this guy, these guys were like, look, this needs fixing. This isn't safe. Yeah. And then it does make you wonder what Tesla are going to do about that. Yeah. And everyone else, not just Tesla, but everyone else, because if you're in an electronic car, everything's going to have an operating system.
I think the only challenge is though, I mean, if we apply that, you can look at it for like an Airbus 380. Yeah. I mean, you talk to pilots and that thing. I mean, look, they fly, of course, but there's a lot of software behind that.
The thing is, with a plane, you can't get next to a plane in 40,000 feet. But I can get next to you. I mean, can you remember? Was it Fast and Furious, where they had this really weird gadget the police had, where they'd fire like some sort of like taser for the car, and it would shut the car down. I mean, I don't think that exists, but
it probably does. I mean, there's enough electronics in an electronic car.
Those kind of things now, where you think, you know what,
we had the boys back home that were cloning key cards and stuff, right? And just like straight away. I mean, 2 seconds you're in and you're out.
Same thing. Mate. Cloning a key is really, really simple. And
obviously, we don't know how to do it. We'll just disclaimer.
Never done it.
That's not what Glenn's doing with his laptop. No. He's boosting cards. He's not.
Hey, mate. You know what? It's such an amazing thing to me that nothing like that happens here.
Well, it does. I mean, what you get is a lot of guys. I've got a friend of mine that owns a car rental company, and happens a lot of time with supercar rental companies. They had a case a couple of months back of another guy that owns a company, and these boys had managed to remove the tracking system and successfully put it on another, like Nissan or something, parked up this Nissan, and it had been parked up for 2 hours, and that's suspicious, parking your supercar for a couple of hours when it's on rental for a day. Yeah. So they drove out there and that was it, it's gone. A lot of them go to Asia apparently, and Africa.
Yeah, I suppose if you know the right people, you can get them out of it.
Get loaded up. And, but you're done kind of. No, I mean, we don't worry about it. I'll tell you, I mean, the other night I went to, for my sins, went to IKEA, had to, first time I've been in 15 years. And I think you know, because my car's just gradually going downhill at the moment. So, but the battery's snapped off, so I'm having to open my key manually now. Yeah, which is actually a novelty.
First world.
Yeah. Going up to the key and opening up the door. So anyway, park up the car, goes inside, comes back, puts some stuff in the car, goes back for a bite to eat in IKEA because. 15 dirhams meatballs, you can't beat that. And but genuinely, first time I've been there in 15 years. It's a rule. I don't go to IKEA or a Global Village. Those are 2 rules here. But came out of IKEA, couldn't find my keys anywhere, nowhere. Right, so went back down, traced my routes. Went to this shop, went to this. That was it. I was done. I was like, well, this is a problem because I haven't got the other key. Because I lost that years ago. So to be fair, you were on speed dial at that point. But I thought I'll go back to the car. I'll just see. My keys were just hanging out the door. Been there for the best part of 2 hours. I mean, this is the only place in the world where you could. I've gone out the house. My laptop was in the back, by the way. Laptop was there, no problem.
Shout out to anyone. My laptop's not in the car.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's like
any would-be thieves.
I've been out the house in the morning, and I'm like, I can't find the key for the front door.
Yeah.
Looking everywhere, I think. And then you can see because the gate, it's not locked. So, well, that's one thing, but I still need to lock it when I go out. You go out, open the door, I come back in, and not only is the key in the lock from when I've gone in, attached to that is the car key for the car that's next to the door. And it's like,
I mean, if you ever wanted to go on the rob here, you could clean up probably.
But it's just good that everyone's just in it together. Like,
that's it.
Our service manager, he had when we were back home, he got his car nicked, and they basically broke into his house, nicked his key.
Really?
And then
took it off the drive. Yeah.
And they never found it.
No.
They never ever found it. And I remember the 2-3 month period after that.
Yeah.
It happened to a service advisor, and the warranty advisor's husband.
Really?
All worked at the same place.
Yeah.
And they were all Mark 5 Golf GT TDIs.
You reminded me of something. I'm going to have a look here. There was something, honestly, that made me sick this week, and I wanted to save it in the notes, but I don't think I did. There's a company here in Dubai that is selling keys. There it is. I think that's it. They're selling keys.
Oh mate, I saw that.
Yeah,
that was on my flipboard
for $500,000.
My flipboard feed.
$500,000.
Madness.
Absolute insanity.
Madness. Yeah.
And this is Arabian business. There it is. I pulled it up. I got a press release from this company, and that's it. Replace standard key of any luxury key on the market. I mean, this.
Do you know what I want to see?
Go on.
I want to see somebody get one.
Yeah.
For his Nissan Sunny. Mate, if you're a baller, right, and anyone that's a baller that's listening to this podcast, go and buy a Sunny, cash. No, get it on a loan.
Get it on a loan,
and then just put cash down for one of these keys, and just walk into the bar and just put it down on the bar.
Honestly though, I mean, I do enjoy living in this part of the world, but sometimes things like that just make me almost.
They're going to make a killing because they only sell a couple.
Yeah.
And they're going to sell, aren't they?
Oh, of course.
Mate, when you've got one of those hanging out your pocket.
Yeah, and Virtue. You got your Virtue next to you, your old Nokia Virtue, and you know, which is again and the best part of 200,000 dirhams for a mobile phone.
You've got to love it. I mean, fair play to them. I see like some of the new Mercs and BMW keys that people do modified versions of that are basically like
you got a little mini screen on them and stuff. Yeah, I've seen that on the BMW
control stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a bit like when some of these gadgets are just selling points, they're just USPs.
Yeah.
Because all cars now, I mean, I showed James a great picture, and I'll try and get this to show you. Obviously, this is great audio for someone listening, trying to think.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, no, it's a good podcast. But, we're all trying to show each other things on our phone. As long as we don't talk about it, when we go silent when we show each other, that's the best bit.
A picture on a tweet, somebody sent a tweet, and it was. That's fermented cabbage that James had made that he sent me. I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah, we need to give Pikeway a bit of a shout about that. I'd like to publicly put it on the record, but I don't need any more pictures of that. And I don't need any more pictures of him in his Speedos, in his jacuzzi either.
I've not had that one.
Oh, you not?
No,
okay.
No,
All right,
I'm glad about that.
Don't need that.
So you don't need to
I was talking about there's some pictures of fire that he was sending me. Because for whatever reason, I mean, we love fire, we're obsessed with fire, we're borderline pyromaniacs, but I've said to him that he needs to get a bit closer to his fire because he seems to light at the end of his garden and run away like a kid. Just leave it burning.
Yeah, but you've not seen what he uses to light it.
Oh, is it just
That's
gasoline?
Why he's running away, yeah.
It's petrol.
It's just bitumen.
Just a line like that. Old, what's the name? Die Hard style.
Yeah, exactly.
With a Zippo lighter.
Exactly. So,
why are you looking for that? What do you feel about... I'm seeing a few more of these cars on the road, these weird Bogward. You seen them? Bogward. Have you heard about this?
No.
German brand.
Okay.
It's Bogward. It's a German brand, right? Here it is. Bogward BX5 and BX7.
Okay.
There they are. SUVs.
Okay.
Right? They're a German brand apparently, but Chinese. You know what the Chinese...
I was just about to say that it's like a Chinese company have copied a Jaguar.
Yep, it's exactly what they've done. So these are these Bogwards BX5s and BX7 they've got, right? Okay. But they are buttons. And they've got every bell and whistle. And I wanted to know your opinion. Look, so 99,000 dirhams.
Wow, it looks just like an F-Pace.
5-seater, full option. Here we go. So 1.8 horsepower, 140-bit low, so transmission automatic, all that kind of stuff. BX5. Now they do a BX7 as well. So have a look at a BX7. So guys, if you're out there kind of in space, have a look at this pricing.
Who's selling them out here?
I think it's Gandhi.
Gandhi.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I mean a BX7 is the bigger boy, 2 litre, 110. So you got this, you got the MG. You got the Geely.
Yeah,
got the. Do you think that? How long do you reckon it's going to take for people to accept Chinese cars like we now accept Koreans?
The biggest thing they're going to have to do is the obstacle they haven't really got to overcome, like the Koreans had to overcome with the design.
Right. Okay.
Until they stole the guy from Audi.
Yeah.
Kia.
Yeah,
their cars
very
are shocking. I
mean,
you take a Sportage from 2008 and a Sportage from 2013, and it's like the Model T to a Cosworth. Like,
yes.
what?
Yeah.
So, but they haven't got that issue because they're copying everyone else's
Yeah.
designs, and I can say that.
They've been inspired.
Well, no, I can say that because we were talking about this the other week, with James, because a Beijing court ruled in favour of Jaguar Land Rover for the Landwind X7, which was a rip-off of the Range Rover Evolve.
Really?
Jaguar Land Rover picked 5 specific areas,
right?
And the Beijing court ruled in their favour on every single one.
Yeah.
And they said and I mean the Evoque was £40,000.
Yeah.
And the Landwind was £14,000.
Really?
And they looked identical.
Really?
Yeah. And that's,
do you think
that's their problem.
But do you think there's a problem with like stigmatism attached to
what's going to happen?
Chinese
is what's happened
car
already. So Volkswagen are looking to buy a huge stake in JAC,
right?
Big
Chinese manufacturer. Yeah.
If that happens,
then there's some credibility.
Then they'll start to get the credit. A bit like Seat and Skoda.
Yeah.
For anyone in Europe,
I don't know. I think Skoda's still got a rough ride.
They have, mate. But anyone, I tell you now, anyone, and I give it to you, anyone that's driven a Skoda in the last 10 years, it's the Chevrolet advert they did recently.
But it's still, the problem is it's still stigma, mate, isn't it?
It's still stigma, same with the Kia and Hyundai.
Yeah.
That's why you'll never be able to charge what they're actually worth, Kia and Hyundai.
Right.
I mean, that Kia Stinger.
Yeah.
Man, I'd take one of those any day. But
we were talking about it the other week, weren't we, with a Mustang?
Someone so exactly, a Mustang guy. It's not going to get in one, even though that'll do it every way since. It'll beat it in everything apart from the fact that they ain't got a V8.
What's the is it Genesis, the Hyundai?
So they used to do so Hyundai used to do the Hyundai Genesis and Hyundai Coupe, but now it's its own standalone brand.
Yes,
premium
and it's like Lexus and Toyota, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, and Infiniti and Nissan.
Which is weird actually, because Kia and Hyundai was already kind of Toyota and Lexus. Then they've now got, so it's a bit like Ford, Mercury, Lincoln. Basically, if you want to do it that way. But it's the biggest issue the Chinese manufacturers are going to have isn't people accepting them, more so just coming up with their own design. And the reason I've given up looking for that, but it was basically a tweet from somebody that said,
look, I mean, if you took that away, that might be a Lincoln, might be a Cayenne, might be an Audi.
Well, this is the point of that tweet I was trying to find. All cars look the same.
Yes.
Now. And this is why they come up with these USPs of a weird key or this car starts.
I'd be massively pissed off if I'd bought one of them Maserati. What are the SUVs, Maserati?
Levant.
Yeah, I mean, it's a CX-9. It's a Mazda CX-9.
Well, yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, the thing is, I've been saying this to people for years when they've been taking when they've been buying Jaguars.
Yeah.
They're Fords.
Yeah.
They're Fords, and this is one of the Jaguars' problems, is they've not stuck to their. They've kind of been embarrassed since the crash.
Yeah.
In 2008 to be a premium brand.
Yeah.
Just be proud of what you do and do what you do properly. Right? Don't try and be a Jaguar shouldn't be an everyman car.
No. Yeah, I agree.
It should be an aspirational car, and it should do what it makes you think it'll do. And to use a millennial word again, to a millennial, a Jaguar is just a run-of-the-mill car, which is a shame because it shouldn't be that. And because of that, it's never going to be successful.
No, it's dropped away from the Porsche and dropped. Yeah.
The Chinese companies just need to figure out that, in a sense. They need to figure out what do they want to do. Do they want to tie up with Volkswagen, let them buy it and do mass-produced? Volkswagen says what it is. It's the people's car.
Yeah.
Or they just want to keep doing what they can, being inspired, as we've said, by other companies and seeing how long they can get away with it for. Because the longer they keep doing that, they're never going to have that credibility. Just go for it. The industrial might of that country is...
It's phenomenal. They got the whole... I mean...
They can put out 20,000, 30,000 cars a week, I imagine, in the factories over there.
And also the electric cars as well at the moment over there. I mean, I always used to... my attitude has changed in the last couple of years, and I've softened since I've had kids and stuff. When I used to get grief for driving around into, Dodge and a Ram, but collectively 11 litres and V8s and all this, and I'd be like, look, when China starts caring about the environment, or India, I might give it a toss. But I mean, China's got the largest electronic transportation fleet in the world. All of their buses are electronic. In major cities.
Well, this is the way I think electronic cars should go. I think think the whole Tesla movement is gonna leave us with, and what it should leave us with is, it's turned everyone on to being conscious of the environment.
Yeah.
It's shown that it's viable to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And still have fun in a car.
Yes, yeah.
But it should push mass transit, just because of the ease of
and also the
charge
pollutants
and
associated
refill.
to it,
Exactly,
yeah.
but push your mass transit stuff,
Yeah.
like everyday cars, to hydrogen fuel
Yeah.
cell, and then leave commercial,
Yeah.
so public transport and freight and stuff like that, to electric. Because, you know, a truck driver, whether he's driving a diesel or whether he's driving electric, he's got a 12-hour shift. At the end of that 12 hours, he can charge it for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Me and you can't do that.
No, true.
And so,
Would you? I mean, like, so we've both got young kids. I mean, do you think our kids' generation will have a trade like yours as a mechanic, or is it a guy in a lab coat? What do you reckon, or is it a specialised kind of?
There's probably still going to be some kind of mechanic, quote unquote,
because there's just too many cars.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I'm just interested in like your thought on it, because for me, I think there will be, but is that because I'm old?
Because we can't see anything other than that.
Yeah, is that? Do you know what I mean? I still see the profession.
I mean, I can,
your profession being there.
I can say there was. I remember, cause I went to school, did well at school. Yeah. Reasonably well at school, and I was. Right, you're going to go to university, you're the first one in the family, and your dad never did after his 14 plus and all that. So in the UK, you'd have your 14 plus back in the day.
That's right, yeah.
And it was, you stay at school, you go and be a mechanic, or you work in the pit. Yeah. They were the three choices you had, right?
Oh, right, okay.
Basically.
Where you were.
So my dad, when I worked in the pit, didn't tell me my grandma. And got away with it for about 2 years. Really? She was like, well, where's your results?
Amazing. So, amazing.
Yeah, so he went and did that, and it was always pit. In fact, we used to give grief to the older boys at work back home, saying the only reason you're a mechanic is you're scared of the pit. So that was like the way of looking at it. You're either clever, or you're a mechanic, or you're a miner. And I think because it's always been that prevalent, and
see where I'm, in all honesty, down south, so being a southern shandy drinking puff, mechanics profession. It was actually it's a choice to go into a professional vocation.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like you had three choices. You know, growing up in Kent, it wasn't like I had three. Or anyone had three choices. Yeah. Like that was a profession.
I mean, it was different for me. Yeah. But because that's how it was before that, there was. I mean, even in a little village I lived in, where there was 2 or 3 garages. You know, and everyone's dad fixed their own cars. And because of that, we probably can't see it. What's going to happen is you're going to have a situation where our kids aren't going to own their own car. Yeah. They're not going to own their own car, mate.
But our kids are going to be a bit weird, because we just love cars, and do you know what I mean? They're gonna. I almost feel like out of all of the movies in the last 20, 30 years that have a vision of the future, Demolition Man seems to be the only one.
Yeah, well, that's wishful thinking, mate, I think.
No, but do you know what I mean? Demolition Man, everyone's riding around those electronic cars, and then Dennis Leary's got this beast of is it a Chevy or a Mustang, like hidden below.
The problem is, no one's gonna. It's gonna be like smoking a fag, smoking a cigarette. It's gonna be frowned upon.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I really do think that's the way it's going to be, and I can see
social pressure associated.
I can remember being 13, 14, and trying a cigarette. Yeah. Falling over from the nicotine rush. Yeah. And thinking I ain't doing that again. Yeah. And all my mates carried on doing it, and I remember at one point I got like a girlfriend at school, and I remember like she lived in a miles away, and they came straight from school on the school bus, and we were on the park or whatever, and I remember kind of wishing I smoked, because I thought my mates looked cool smoking. Yeah. And now,
you didn't dream of it,
mate. Honestly, I honestly notice when someone's smoking. If they're walking down the street smoking, I think, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I notice it.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
But my mum and dad smoked, and that's the next step.
we have all these vices, don't we? But you're right, though. I think that's what it is. I think car ownership will turn around to, what are you doing? Pressure.
It's not what the world can do for you. Yeah. What are you doing for the world? And that attitude is a modern thing. Yeah. And I think for our kids, it's going to go that way.
It'll go that way. Yeah, cool.
Definitely.
Should we polish it off there, young Glenn?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about the cars for close to nearly an hour. So
cool.
We're back next week. Well, I'm not. Pikeaway's here with Glenn. Pikeaway's back. He's back from Safa. And then you'll hear our two voices together for the Tech Talk this week. And then probably in the next couple of weeks, we're going to get hands on some Audis.
You've been listening to the CarClinic Podaholiks podcast with Glenn Power from Sandance Tyre and Andrew Thomas from digitalnexa.com. You want to get in touch with the program? Podaholiks with a K at gmail.com, or reach out on your socials, Podaholiks with a K. Share the podcast, share the love. We'll talk to you again really soon. So long for now.